is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental, what we're going to watch here.
Size different than because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terrence Bud Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out.
Tension erupted at the Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis press conference when Floyd Mayweather reportedly stormed the stage. What was meant to be a routine media event turned into a high-voltage confrontation. Floyd directly warned Jake Paul, setting off a verbal exchange that electrified the crowd. The energy in the room shifted instantly. This wasn't hype anymore, it was personal. The moment captured just how serious things have become between both camps ahead of one of the most talked about fights in recent memory.
Just showing up. Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna knock him out. You know, he has a lot of flaws in his defense, and I'm gonna expose him. You know, look what a 135 Lamont Roach did to him, and it's just gonna be so much fun for me. I'm so glad that God gave me this moment. I'm Gervonta Tank Davis.
As the announcement spread across social media, critics wasted no time calling the matchup a circus act, more spectacle than sport. Many believe the bout undermines boxing's tradition. But not everyone agrees. Combat sports journalist Ariel Helwani offered a sharp counterpoint, saying that fans often celebrate crossover events in MMA but reject them in boxing. He pointed out the double standard: what's praised as entertainment in one arena is labeled disrespect in another. To Helwani, this fight may not represent purist boxing ideals, but it undeniably offers excitement, unpredictability, and global attention, things the sport can't ignore.
Generally, I'm sure it'll be a little bit closer, maybe 200 to 150. How much bigger can Tank get? Why would that be somewhat celebrated in MMA, but in boxing it isn't? Do you know what I mean, Pete? In MMA, like, we sort of love the freak shows, but in boxing they don't. Why do you think that is? What does that say about us in MMA?
Well, we're a sick bunch of fucks, there's no doubt about that. But I will say...
You agree, right, or no?
Yeah, like, the idea of the MMA freak show is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental, what we're going to watch here. I think where people get annoyed with Jake is, like, you know, he even got me. You know what I mean? This guy is the greatest outrage farmer of all time. I saw his tweet and I was like, reading it, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, this is exactly what he fucking wants me to do. You know, like, this is, every time I'm doing this, he's in the game of getting eyeballs, and this is ridiculous. As long as, like, you know, why do I like an MMA freak show? Why would I watch Eddie Hall in an MMA fight against Dylan Dennis? I'll be like, this is fucking ridiculous and I have to watch it. That's the way I feel about Jake Paul and Davis. I will watch it. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's all of us getting together to go to the circus for the evening. I think the reason why there's pushback against it when Jake does it is because Jake, and obviously tactfully, is going like, what are you talking about? This guy's a world champion. I took out Mike Tyson, he's a world champion, and then I'm going to take out Canelo and stuff like this. Like, he's winding us up. He's not agreeing to the stipulation that we're all agreeing on, which is, this is a freak show. This is absolutely mental. As long as we can agree with that, we can all enjoy it collectively.
But do you not think he does agree to that? Do you not think he knows what this is?
No.
Even Floyd Mayweather, the architect of precision in modern boxing, shared his thoughts. While he acknowledged Jake Paul's influence and hustle, he made it clear that Paul's skills haven't yet faced real adversity. Floyd reminded fans that boxing isn't about social media fame, it's about ring IQ, timing, and legacy. Let him do what he's doing, Floyd said, but he's never faced a real fighter like Tank. That subtle jab carried the weight of experience, a reminder that the ring has no shortcuts.
But, like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers. Logan as well as Jake, they know what they're doing, so they're doing it.
Among boxing purists, the Davis vs. Paul matchup has sparked fierce debate. To some, it feels out of step with the essence of the sport, a collision between celebrity ambition and professional craft. Longtime fans of Gervonta Davis, who have followed his climb from Baltimore's gyms to global arenas, see this as a detour from the legacy path. Their frustration isn't just about Jake Paul's background, but about the perception that Tank is lowering himself to a spectacle. They wanted to see him in legacy-defining battles, not crossover entertainment.
People think that Tank ain't gonna knock out Jake Paul. Like, bruh, I'm gonna tell you exactly how it's gonna go. Jake Paul will go in that ring thinking he has the upper hand, he has the reach, he has the weight, and he gonna go in there confident. Yeah, he might stun Tank a little bit, but I'm gonna tell you, he gonna underestimate Tank. That's exactly what's about to happen. He's gonna underestimate him and his size, and he gonna get crushed. I think this right here is what's gonna end Jake Paul's boxing career. I think that Jake Paul, when you sit here and think about it, the people he fought, I'm not saying they wasn't real fighters, but they just not no Tank Davis. Buddy, I'm telling you, I don't think this is scripted. I think, yes, this is for money, but I think it's like, hey, at your own cost, go in that ring. Y'all know the weight difference. What's gonna happen is what's gonna happen at the end of the day. I think Tank really go, hey, drop him. He ain't gonna understand, Jake Paul ain't understand how, but he's about to see it. And on some real stuff, I think Tank setting Jake Paul up. So I remember when Jake Paul went up against Tyson, he said, you need to fight me. Like, I want to get in the ring with Jake Paul. He disrespected the boxing world by getting in the ring with Tyson and embarrassing him. And, you know, Tank really messed with Tyson. I think he setting him up, bro. Mark my words. I think he's like, yeah, come in the ring, but we're going to do a friendly, you know what I'm saying? You know, a match or whatever. We're going to get this money up. He about to embarrass him November 14th. Just because Jake Paul thinks the boxing world's sweet. He think it's sweet. He think they about to keep taking it easy on him with these fights. All right, I bet you. How much y'all want to bet? Tank is setting him up. He's gonna literally do him so bad, just to make an example.
The ripple effects of this matchup have spread far beyond the fighters themselves. When reports surfaced that Shakur Stevenson had been sparring with Jake Paul, it triggered a social media storm. Many fans accused Stevenson of betraying boxing's integrity. But Shakur didn't flinch. He responded calmly, saying the criticism only fuels his drive. His professionalism in the face of hate highlighted a larger truth: this fight isn't just about two boxers, it's about the cultural tug-of-war between tradition and evolution. Even those not involved are getting pulled into its orbit.
When Turkey was doing all that, like, I don't want no boring Tom and Jerry fights, he came out with a Tom and Jerry hat. And then he fought in a style that is not sustainable for him. And it's not, again, for me, it's not sustainable, because fighting like that, if you do that with the wrong one, you'll lose. If you fight how you fight, okay, it's going to be harder to win. But you're putting your own self on the chopping block, trying to appease the crowd or not be Tom and Jerry. It's not sustainable. And even in the Zepeda fight, he got rocked back with a jab and fell into the ropes like that. So you could say I wasn't hurt and all that, but it's still a bad look. It's a bad look. People always talk about Tank, the knee, air grease thing, but what about Shakur getting rocked into the ropes from a Zepeda jab? Even if you were off balance, you're supposed to be light years ahead of Zepeda skillfully. So to me, that still looks really bad. Like, I watched 50 fights from Floyd Mayweather, and he's fighting way better than Zepeda level. And Canelo and these guys, they're not punching him into the ropes and he's staggering back. The optics of it look bad. So back to it, Shakur, I feel like he's trying so hard to look unbothered, but he always replies to it so you could tell he's bothered. He's like, man, I got him so mad at me. And I personally, I don't prefer that when people do that. Like, for example, Shakur's like, man, I got him tuned in and thanks for the support. Bro, they're not really supporting you. They're all the comments underneath you saying whatever you said about, I get to pick Jake Paul's brain and work with him and all that. Most of them were negative. So you're trying to, like, it's so weird, because it reminds me of when I've seen people like celebrities or whatever who...
Boxing elites like Devin Haney and Terence Crawford also weighed in. Both champions voiced concern about the matchup's physical imbalance. Jake Paul's size and reach, they argued, introduce unnecessary risk. Haney pointed out that no matter how skilled Davis is, giving up that much weight and height changes the entire dynamic. Crawford echoed that sentiment, saying fights like these blur the line between boxing and entertainment. For them, boxing should remain a contest of skill and merit, not a platform for viral stunts.
Because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terrence Bud Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out with one punch. We've seen Shakur Stevenson's words say that this is a clown show, that it's a disgrace to boxing, that it's something that he doesn't want to be a part of, but then do everything he can to be a part of it by turning from 2-division, 3-division world champion, former unified champion, and turning himself from that into a damn sparring partner for Jake Paul. So people's words, people's actions are showing that they really, really deep down like this fight. And now you can add Devin the Dream Haney to the list of fighters. And I just find it funny because here's the thing, I disagree with him. I am only interested in this fight because number one, I'm a diehard Gervonta Tank Davis fan, and number two, I don't really like Jake Paul at all. So I would like to see Tank Davis knock his block off. But as far as a competitive standpoint, as far as thinking it's a good fight, as far as loving the fight, nah, bro, I think it's a trash-ass fight. I think Tank Davis is way too good, way too skilled, way too talented to even allow Jake Paul to share the ring with him. That is my opinion. And so as a result, my pick of the fight or my overview and analysis of the fight is the same. If it's a real fight, if this is something that Tank Davis is taking serious, Jake Paul is going to get in that bitch and be...
Yet, former world champion Keith Thurman sees it differently. He believes controversy is part of the game and that Tank's critics are also his biggest promoters. The same people complaining are the ones who'll pay to watch, Thurman said. He praised Davis's ability to generate buzz no matter the circumstances. To Thurman, Tank has become more than a fighter, he's a cultural phenomenon. Love him or hate him, people can't look away. And that, in today's era, is power.
With Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're gonna want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What's it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It should say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know, sometimes.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So, you know, it's money-making purposes only. You know?
For Gervonta Davis, this moment sits at a crossroads of purpose and perception. Throughout his career, he's talked about respect for boxing's craft, about building a lasting legacy through real competition. He's faced elite opponents and proven himself repeatedly. That's why fans are puzzled by this decision. Why face someone like Jake Paul, a man known more for YouTube than championship belts? But Tank seems unfazed. Insiders suggest this fight is less about legacy and more about strategy, a move that could elevate his global visibility while securing financial freedom. He's playing a long game, one that extends beyond the ring.
Not the problem with boxing, Tank Davis is. Jake Paul's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's a Disney Channel kid, YouTube star turned boxer. Of course, he's gonna make these stupid spectacle matchups. He doesn't care about his career, his legacy, or the sport. Meanwhile, we have Tank Davis, the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather and Adrian Broner, who has real talent. And if he was actually consistent in the ring and was willing to get in with some of the best fighters in the world, he could be top 3 pound for pound best fighters in the sport. But instead, Tank just wants to hold up his division for 5 years and make a mockery of the sport, especially with this fight. I know Tank Davis multiple times has said he only cares about the money and just wants to make $100 million and go retire off an island somewhere, but that's bad for the sport, especially coming from one of our sport's biggest superstars. Look at guys like Naoya Inoue, Alexander Usyk, Terrence Crawford. Those guys are real fighters, okay? They challenge themselves against the best fighters in the world. And money comes their way too from it. Don't get it twisted. What's crazy is Tank would make just as much money if he fought Shakur, Devin Haney, even Teofimo Lopez. The biggest tragedy of all is the fact that Lamont Roach isn't getting his rematch. He got robbed in that fight with a knockdown. He definitely would have won the split decision, and he would have got his Buster Douglas moment. But he didn't, and now he can't even get a rematch because Tank is going to do this. And now Lamont Roach has to fight Pitbull Cruz instead. I used to be such a big Tank Davis fan, but over the last year and a half that I've had this channel, the amount of BS that I've had to report on Tank Davis just like this completely turned me off as a fan of Tank Davis. Jake Paul can do his thing with the influencers, with the MMA fighters, but with boxers...
Analysts describe the fight as a hybrid, part sporting contest, part entertainment showcase. And that's exactly why it divides opinion. Traditionally, exhibitions feature retired legends or entertainers. But here, both men are active, ambitious, and in their primes, which makes this a rare experiment. Some see it as a bold evolution of the sport, others call it an erosion of authenticity. What's undeniable is that this matchup has forced boxing to confront its identity in the modern age, between legacy and virality.
Fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser, because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. As Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has every...
Gervonta's longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, has a more grounded view. Having mentored Davis since his teens, Ford insists the fight is winnable and winnable in style. He points to Tank's speed, timing, and explosive power as the ultimate equalizers. Ford believes Jake's size advantage won't mean much if Tank controls distance and rhythm. People forget, he said, Tank's fought bigger men before and they all fell. Analysts back his assessment, noting that Davis's technical depth and reflexes are levels above Jake's. But that doesn't mean it's predictable. One man has power and reach, the other has elite skill and precision. It's the age-old question, strength versus skill.
We got blessed with this fight. That's how I look at it, you know.
Interesting comment there that they were getting ready for the Roach rematch, and then this fight was, he said they got blessed with this fight, but this fight came through. So the plan was actually to go and rematch Lamont Roach, which is something that I think he should have done. I think they for Tank's legacy, for, just the sanctity of pro boxing when it comes to a world champion and what they do with that world championship belt, I think he should have taken the Lamont Roach rematch. It seems like they were going to, but the obvious reason that everyone, I think, knows why they didn't is because Netflix and a Jake Paul fight come with a massive bag. Like, there's probably no comparison to what Tank will make to fight Lamont Roach or anybody else compared to Jake Paul. Whether you like that or not, it's the truth. He is a money fight, and so is Tank. And that's why they're going to do a shit ton of viewers on Netflix and why they're going to both make a shit ton of money. So the point I want to take away from that is that they were starting to get their minds and body ready for Lamont Roach, which means that Tank was in somewhat of a serious pre-camp, right? Somewhat of a serious, workout regimen, getting himself in shape. Not that Tank is super out of shape out of camp. I don't know that. But this means that he was mentally preparing for a fight regardless. It's not hopping off the couch Tank, which is not what you want to see even against Jake Paul, because the least serious you take Jake, and I've said this about everybody that's fought him, ones that don't take him serious, the ones that say he's a YouTuber and everything else, they end up losing, or they end up looking like, oh, wait a second, this guy was a little better than I thought. They end up either getting taken by surprise or actually sometimes losing because they don't realize that Jake actually takes it serious. So this is good to hear. Just already right off the rip, they were already doing something.
Surprise. So tell me, when did you hear about this?
Going back and forth for years, Tank and Jake. They've been going at it for years, and it would have happened sooner. You know what I'm saying? But we have hiccups in life. That's what I call it, hiccups. But they lessons to learn from. But we back on track and keeping it moving.
When you heard about the fight, were you like, wait, what? Like, we're doing what?
Actually, when I heard about the fight, they called me and said, what you thought about the fight? I said, the fight doable. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched Tank for years, and I watched other young men in gyms, deal with big guys. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he's big. To me, it's like Jake having his first open fights. If anybody know about the amateurs going open, then you go pro. So, he's very fight.
As the fight approaches, the boxing world remains split. Some view it as a meaningless stunt, others call it a revolutionary moment. Either way, both men are stepping into history. For Jake Paul, it's a test of legitimacy. For Gervonta Davis, it's a battle to protect boxing's honor while proving he can adapt to any challenge, no matter the stage or opponent, and that's where things stand for now. Whether this event becomes a cultural milestone or a forgotten headline will depend on what happens inside that ring. Until then, the world watches, debates, and waits. Stay tuned, because when Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis finally collide, it won't just be a fight. It'll be a statement.